So, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are heading over to Pittsburgh to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens coming off an impressive 1-point victory against the Cincinnati Bengals, while the Pittsburgh Steelers are also coming off an impressive 1-point victory. They played the Washington Commanders. Russell Wilson has been on a tear, while Lamar Jackson still leads in the MVP race. And Lamar Jackson talked about his recent struggles against the Pittsburgh Steelers, going 1-3 in his career against them. This is what he had to say on the reasons why he has been struggling against Pittsburgh.
I don't know what it is, man. It's just that I believe that rival atmosphere. I believe last year we supposed to have them, but things just didn't go our way. You know, the football guys wasn't on our side. But it's a whole nother year. It's a new year. I'm looking forward to the game.
So I want to ask you, though, can the Steelers upset Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens?
It's possible, but I don't think so. I think the power rankings here, the Ravens 4, the Steelers 7, pretty close. This is for first place in the AFC North. It's on the line here. The Ravens are at 7-3, and the Steelers at 7-2. I just don't see the Ravens falling further behind the Steelers here. This is their opportunity to take first place. They've been waiting for this game for a while, and I think they're going to find a way to win it. Pittsburgh's been doing well lately, 3-0 under Wilson. Had to come from behind, though, to beat the Commanders, and, that was an interesting game. The Ravens beat the Bengals by 1 point last Thursday. The Ravens' defense has been shaky against the pass, to say the least. They also average 8 penalties a game, which is second most in the league, and 68.3 penalty yards per game, which is the most. So they need to be a little more disciplined. The Steelers have an elite run defense, but they're going up against Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. They make up for the flaws on the defensive side with their offensive performances. And despite the Steelers having a very strong defense this year, I just don't think you stop Lamar and Henry for 60 minutes of a football game. I think they're going to find a way to make some big plays. Baltimore's 2-0 and 7 of 8 after losing their first 2 games. Lamar has 14 TDs in 4 games, a passer rating of 123.2. He's on track to the MVP 3. Henry leads the league in rushing with 1,120 yards, 14 TDs. The Ravens lead the NFL with 440 yards per game and 31.5 points. Their offense is really elite and fun to watch as well. Baltimore's extended the rest after playing on Thursday night last week. That could be a factor in this game. And they're very incredibly efficient in scoring, 30-plus points in 6 of the last 7 games. I think they're going to beat the Steelers.
And I'm on the opposite side of this. I'm going Steelers all day. Steelers over Ravens now, tomorrow, the following day. And I'll say they at least cover. Will they outright win? That's what my guess would be. But a safe bet would definitely be picking Steelers +3. First off, and also some sportsbooks have +3.5. That's a given. Take that every single time. Steelers and the Ravens, these games have been incredibly close most of the time. But, people hate when I bring up Lamar's playoff record and how poor he's been doing. Or even if I'm sure people would have an issue with me bringing up Mahomes against the Buffalo Bills. People rip on me for that. People rip on me for everything if I attack Lamar Jackson like he can't be touched. Well, guess what? I'm not stopping. Lamar Jackson against the Pittsburgh Steelers has been bad. Look how bad he's been. 1-3 record, 273 total yards a game, 58% completion percentage, 4 total touchdowns. Everyone says, but he's a runner too. Well, how about this? Total touchdowns and total turnovers is 10 total turnovers and 4 touchdowns. So that's not good at all. A passer rating of 66 and his team scores 19 points. Yes, very true. The Ravens offense so far this season has been incredible. But Lamar Jackson against a rival opponent like the Pittsburgh Steelers has not been good whatsoever. The big story here, though, is Lamar could play great. Lamar can play great, and there's a reason why he's the leading MVP candidate right now. But this season has really been because, like where they're at right now, and a lot of the concern comes from the Baltimore Ravens defense, which has been absolutely abysmal. The numbers for the defense are shockingly bad because last year they were giving off 2000s Ravens defense vibes, and the numbers backed it up. This season, it's like a bottom 5 defense essentially in every category. Points per game given up, they're 25th. Opponent yards, total yards a game, they're 27th. Opponent yards per play, they're 27th. Opponent passing yards a game, dead last. Opponent passer rating allowed, 27th. They've given up they're 28th in opponents' first downs. Like, they're not a good defense whatsoever. And no team wants to run the football against them because you can find success in throwing the ball. That's why they're number 1 in rush defense and number 2 in running attempts allowed, because they're dead last in passing yards given up, dead last in passing touchdowns given up, and dead last in passing attempts. They're not a good defense whatsoever. Yes, you do get Kyle Hamilton back, and I'm sure that'll work wonders for you, but this season, as we've seen, it hasn't really done much because you still rank dead last in every category. So this Ravens defense against a Steelers offense that has really come alive under Russell Wilson, and one of the shock teams in the AFC has been the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they're already 7-2. They need 2 more wins to get to the over 500 and continue Mike Tomlin's streak. Me and you both agreed, and even a lot of analysts agreed, that this year was not the year Mike Tomlin keeps his streak. Because so far, Justin Herbert ended, I believe, at the New York Jets. So the Raiders were his last game, I believe. 37, 26, 28 points scored in each of those games. Meanwhile, only giving up 15, 18, and then 27 to the Commanders. So this, for me, is a low-scoring game. Very low scoring. I think the streak continues. The Ravens don't put up 20 points. Lamar only averages 19.8 points. This is going to be a game where Russell Wilson can really sort of put down my take of him just, on this trend of being really poor, because he hasn't shown that. Yes, his wins have been against the Giants, Jets, and Commanders.
Yeah. But
I think that we respect the Commanders as a team. They're one of the best teams in the NFL, and the numbers back it up, and the record backs it up. There's a reason why they're 7-4. So win over them is great, but I think this is a game where we see that could it be a high offensive game? I'm going with no. I think this would be a low scoring game. My score for this game would be 24-20. 24-20, it sounds right. Give me the Steelers all the way. Steelers outright. Lamar doesn't play well. I'm sorry, people don't want to hear this. Lamar Jackson has bad games. Of course he does. But when he does have a bad game, we could point it out.
He hasn't had many lately. He's had some really good games. He's had 14 touchdowns in the last 4 games.
Yeah, no, he's played incredible. But when he does have a bad game, like he has in the playoffs, like he had in some of these games this season so far, or when he gets outplayed, it's not that he played poorly, it's that another quarterback outplayed him.
So you think TJ Watt...
For instance, I think Joe Burrow outplayed Lamar Jackson both times. I can't say that, though, because people have a problem with it.
Yeah,
because he didn't win the game.
You just said it.
I did say it, and people are going to have a problem with it. He lost to Jameis Winston. The first game where Jameis Winston came in as quarterback, the Baltimore Ravens lost to the Cleveland Browns. I can't skip that. He didn't play well enough against a bad team to beat them. Yeah. Now, I think...
Went down to the last play of the game.
Well, I mean, he needed a touchdown. It wasn't like a game-winning field goal and they missed. They were down by 5 points and he needed to score a touchdown. But the fact that you're even in that situation and got shut down in the first half, which was very shocking. And by the way, you also lost to the Las Vegas Raiders the second week of the year. When I think, and again, I can't say this for whatever reason, they were trying to figure out their identity still. And then finally, week 3 against the Cowboys, it's, give it to Derrick Henry 20-plus times. It's working. And by the way, it's worked so well. They're 4-0 when Derrick Henry has 20-plus carries, which I brought up early in the season when he has 25 or more carries. I think he has I don't have the number in front of me. I think he has a 75% win percentage.
I think he'll have more than 20 carries on Sunday.
I think that might be a bad idea because the Steelers have the 4th best run defense in the NFL.
He's going to be well-rested, too.
He didn't have a...
You think TJ...
Why would he be well-rested?
Because they played Thursday night. They have an extra rest. I think that's a factor.
To me, it doesn't matter because Derrick Henry carries the ball so much. The rest might be a little beneficial, but going up against the 4th best run defense, and I understand that the Baltimore Ravens are the number 1 rush defense, but that's because everybody can excel against their pass defense.
Who do you think the X factor is in this game?
Just for one singular team or a side of the ball?
Just one player out of both teams. Who's the X factor?
It's going to be either TJ Watt against a bad right side of the Ravens offensive line, or George Pickens against other Kyle Hamilton, or even Stevens on the defensive backside of the Baltimore Ravens is not good. He gets cooked, penalties, bad player. He's not very good. So George Pickens or TJ Watt, because I'm saying Steelers win. I don't think there could be an X factor on the Ravens if they lose the game.
I think it's TJ Watt. I think the Ravens find a way to control him a little bit.
So who's
Can't
the,
control
so
him the
who's
whole
the X
game.
factor on the Ravens side then? Because how can an X factor
Lamar
be,
Jackson.
Well, yeah, I would say that's
you
the
say
opposite.
plays bad, so if he plays well, he's the X factor.
I mean, are you telling me that he doesn't play bad? Look at the numbers. The numbers back it up. This is Lamar Jackson against the Steelers in his career.
Yeah.
He doesn't play well. He's dominant across the entire, rest of the league except against Kansas City, the playoffs, and against Pittsburgh.
This is a big game for the Ravens. I don't see him losing it.
Well, we know what Lamar does in big games.
And they lose this.
The
their
playoffs
chances,
are the biggest games.
They lose this game. Their chances of winning the North are not very good.
Well, the Steelers also run into the Browns twice, Bengals twice, Eagles, Ravens again, and then the Chiefs. So there is a shot that the Steelers do fall in a couple of these games. So I don't think this is a one and done where if you lose this game, if you're Baltimore, then you have no shot.
It's getting
at winning
later in the
North.
season now.
Right, but the Steelers have one of the hardest
Week
schedules
11.
in the NFL. Because once again, you still have to play the Browns twice, the Eagles, the Bengals twice, the Ravens again, and the Chiefs. That's an incredibly difficult schedule. So the Ravens do have a shot because their remaining schedule is a little bit easier. They got after this, they go at Chargers. They have actually the number one defense in the NFL when it comes to points allowed. I don't think they've allowed 20 points at all this season. I might be wrong about that, but I don't think their defense has allowed 20 or more points. They play the Giants, the Steelers, the Texans, the Browns, the Eagles, and you have a bye week in there as well. So yours is it's difficult, absolutely, but yours is a little bit easier because you do have the Giants and the Browns in there. And I don't know how you think about the Chargers against really good teams because they've beaten up on some bad teams. But
I'm not picking them this week.
Well, it's gonna be good then because I'm picking. Or yeah, me and you're not picking the Chargers at all. But for me though, Steelers, they have to win this game. They absolutely have to win this game. It has nothing to do. Because, like I said, I think Lamar deserves the MVP right now. He's played incredible. But for me, the matchup is towards the Pittsburgh Steelers. Lamar just hasn't played good. Just like it has nothing to do with anything but history. Has Lamar done good in the playoffs? No. Do I expect him to?
Is history
No.
is history a perfect predictor of a future? No.
Well,
This could be a very different game. Could be totally different.
I can say that about a lot of things. First off, has Patrick Mahomes struggled in the regular season against the Bills? Yes. He has a 1-3 record. But normally in the playoffs, have the Chiefs done well against the Bills? Yes.
They're undefeated.
They're undefeated. They're 3-0. Has Lamar Jackson done a tremendous job against the Cincinnati Bengals? Absolutely. That's why a lot of people expected them to beat the Bengals this time around, which they did. Now, both games were extremely close and had to go down to a botched snap by a rookie punter and also by a decision to go for two but on the Bengals side and had to try to complete a pass to Tanner Hudson.
I think it's going to be a great game.
History's a great tell.
I think it's going to be a great game.
I agree. I think this game is better than the Buffalo Bills game.
What are they timed so that we can watch both of them? They aren't playing at the same time, are they? Is one early and one late?
One's at 4. I think this one's at 4:25. The other one's at 1. So
Okay,
you
great.
can watch both. But yeah, no, I'm Steelers all the way. 24-20. That's my score. Steelers get the win. Move to 8-2, which is it's ridiculous to say. Going into the season, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, quarterback battle. Oh, how the hell could they get a winning record this season? Oh, they're 7-2, looking at 8-2 right now. Well, give me your score for this game.
I have the Ravens winning and covering, so I would have them winning by 27-21.
A 6-point. Wow, that's
27-21.
That's interesting. Mike Tomlin also has a tremendous record as home underdogs. So throw that out there. He has a tremendous record. I believe he only has 7 losses his entire career. He has I think 19 or 20 wins